"You need to move out," my mom announced, mid-bite of the Christmas turkey. "Really?" I replied, keeping my voice calm. "I pay the rent, cover the bills, and buy all the groceries." The next morning, I packed my things and left without saying a word. Hey Reddit, before we start, I just want to say that this is our new channel, and we're really working hard to bring you the best stories. So make sure to subscribe to get us 1,000 subscribers very soon. Let's start the story. Christmas dinner was supposed to be peaceful. I had cooked all day, trying to make it perfect. I roasted the turkey, made the stuffing from scratch, and even baked a pie. Apple, just like Mom likes. The house smelled like warmth and nostalgia, and I thought maybe, just maybe, we'd have one holiday where things didn't fall apart. I poured everyone a drink, set the table, and for the first time in a long while, sat down with some small hope that tonight would feel like family again. My mother barely looked at me as she carved into the turkey. She chewed slowly, swallowed, then glanced up as if she just remembered something terribly important. "You need to move out," she said flatly, like she was commenting on the weather. No emotion, no warning, just that. I sat there stunned, the fork halfway to my mouth. I blinked. Maybe I misheard. But no. My sister looked at me with widened eyes, and my cousin went completely silent mid-chew. I set my fork down and kept my voice steady as I reminded her. "I pay the rent, the bills, and buy the groceries." "You haven't worked in years, Mom." She shrugged, picked up her wine glass, and muttered something about needing her own space back. Like I was a squatter in the home I practically financed. Let me give you a little context. I'm 26, work full-time in IT, and when my mom lost her job a few years back, I moved in to help. Not the other way around. I moved in to help her. She was on the brink of losing the house. I stepped up and covered everything: rent, utilities, Wi-Fi, even her Netflix subscription. I never once asked her for rent money or even a contribution. I figured it was family. She raised me. I help her in return. But somewhere along the line, she started acting like I was the burden. Dishes not washed. My fault. Wi-Fi being slow. Must be me. Got a call during her nap time? I was being disrespectful. I brushed it off. I told myself she was going through things. I kept quiet through her passive-aggressive digs and her silent treatments. I endured every guilt trip about how I should be grateful to live under her roof. Even though technically, she was living under mine, if we're going by who pays what. After that Christmas dinner, I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just stared at her while she returned to her meal like she hadn't just thrown a grenade into my life. I excused myself quietly, stood up, and left the table. In my room, I sat for hours, trying to figure out what had just happened. There wasn't even a fight. No reason. No inciting incident. Just get out. The words echoed in my head all night. I packed slowly. I didn't even know where I'd go, but I couldn't stay. Not after that. She didn't knock on my door. She didn't ask what I was doing. It's like she wanted me gone and didn't care where I'd land. The next morning, while she was still sleeping off her wine, I took my suitcase, grabbed my laptop and essentials, and walked out. No note. No goodbye. No drama. Just silence. At first, I thought maybe she'd call. Maybe she'd come to her senses and apologize. But the hours passed, then the days. Nothing. Not a single message. The woman I just spent years supporting didn't even check if I had somewhere to sleep. I ended up crashing on my friend Mason's couch. He offered his place without question, and honestly, his kindness made me realize just how cold my own family had become. A few days in, I found a decent studio apartment on the edge of town. Small, quiet, but mine. No one telling me when to come home. No sideways glances when I laughed too loud. No guilt trips. Just peace. Then, about a week after I left, I got a message from my younger sister. It simply said, "You won't believe what Mom is telling everyone." I called her immediately, and what she said made my stomach turn. Apparently, Mom had started telling the extended family that I abandoned her, that I left on Christmas Day without warning, that I had become too selfish to live with family anymore. She told people I yelled at her during dinner and stormed out in a rage. Some of our aunts were reaching out to her, saying they were so sorry she had to deal with such an ungrateful son. One even offered to bring her meals during this difficult time. I was stunned. My own mother was spinning a narrative to make me the villain. She wasn't content with pushing me out. She wanted to make sure everyone else turned on me, too. And it was working. My uncle unfollowed me on Instagram. My cousin removed me from a group chat. All because of a lie she told to protect her own image. That's when something inside me snapped. I had been silent long enough. I didn't want to air dirty laundry, But if she was going to try and destroy my reputation with the people I grew up with, then I wasn't going to sit back and take it anymore. I thought about sending out one massive group text, telling everyone the truth, but that felt messy. So instead, I did something I knew would hit harder. I wrote a post, a detailed, honest, and respectful post. I shared how I had paid every bill in that house for years, how I never once asked my mother for anything, and how, on Christmas night, after serving her the very meal she's told people I walked out on, she told me to move out. I didn't badmouth her. I just laid out the facts, and I let everyone draw their own conclusions. I posted it and logged off. What happened next? Well, let's just say I didn't expect the storm that followed. I didn't check my phone for the rest of the day after posting my side of the story. Honestly, I was scared too. I didn't want to know what people thought, didn't want to see if anyone believed me or if they were already too far gone, too deep into my mom's version of events. But later that night, curiosity got the better of me. I opened my phone and the notifications were nonstop. Messages, missed calls, comments, more than I ever expected. The first thing I noticed was a message from my Aunt Lisa. She'd always been the most rational of the bunch, and she said she was shocked. She told me my post opened her eyes and that she was sorry for believing the worst. She admitted that Mom had always had a tendency to twist the truth when things didn't go her way, but no one ever challenged her. Aunt Lisa apologized for jumping to conclusions and told me if I ever needed anything, her door was open. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that until I did. One by one, other relatives started reaching out. Some were apologetic, others just silent, but obviously realized they'd been duped. My cousin Kayla messaged me saying, "You know, we always knew something was off about how your mom treated you." That hit me hard, because even though I had lived it, I always told myself I was overreacting. It felt validating. Painful, but validating. But the real explosion came when my mom saw the post. I didn't tag her, but someone obviously sent it to her because, the next morning, I woke up to a flood of messages from her. She started off with guilt-tripping texts. "I can't believe you'd humiliate me like that." Then she escalated into outright anger. "You twisted everything. I never said you had to leave. You chose to. You're just making yourself the victim as always." And finally, the ultimate fallback. "After all I've done for you." That last part made me laugh, in a bitter sort of way. I never responded. There was nothing left to say. She had her chance to speak like an adult. She chose to lie instead. For the next few weeks, the dust slowly settled. I stayed in my new apartment and finally started to feel like I had a life of my own. No eggshells, no tension, just freedom. I bought a small secondhand couch, a table, a coffee maker. I started cooking meals just for me, binging shows without headphones on, sleeping peacefully. It was weird at first, too quiet, but I learned to love the quiet. I didn't realize how much noise I'd been living with until it was gone. Then, out of nowhere, my younger sister asked to meet up. We hadn't talked much since I left, mostly because she still lived with Mom and didn't want to be caught in the middle. But now, she looked tired. She said she wanted to talk in person. So we met at a little cafe downtown, and after some awkward small talk, she finally opened up. She told me things had gotten worse since I left. Without me covering rent, Mom had started missing payments. The power had been shut off for a day before she scraped enough together to pay it. She'd even tried asking our grandmother for money, but Grandma refused. My sister said Mom was spiraling, blaming everyone else, especially me, for her situation. But she also said something else, something I wasn't expecting. She said, "You did the right thing by leaving. You should have left sooner." That hit me harder than I can explain. Coming from the only other person who had lived under that same roof, her words felt like a release. Like someone finally saw the full picture and didn't try to sugarcoat it. She told me she was thinking about leaving too, once she could figure out how to afford it. I told her when she was ready, I'd help her however I could. Not financially. I couldn't afford that again, but emotionally. I wasn't going to abandon her like I had been abandoned. A few days later, I got a knock on my apartment door. It was Mom. She stood there with a forced smile, holding a store-bought pie in her hand like that would erase everything. I didn't even open the door fully. I just stepped outside and stood in the hallway. She started talking, saying how she missed me, how things weren't the same, how maybe we could have dinner sometime and talk. I asked her if she came to apologize. She paused, then said, "I don't think I need to. I think we both made mistakes." That was all I needed to hear. I shook my head, told her I wished her well, and closed the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't yell. I just closed it. Because after everything, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. I had spent years trying to be the good son, the responsible one, the peacekeeper. I had sacrificed my comfort, my money, and my mental health to support someone who never appreciated it. But now I was free. The post I wrote stayed up. I never took it down. It wasn't for revenge, it was for the truth. I didn't care if Mom saw it as betrayal. The real betrayal was what she did that night over turkey and wine and everything that came after. It's been months now. I've redecorated my apartment with little things that make it feel like home. I see my sister sometimes. We go out for coffee, and she updates me on her plans. I know she'll get out too. She's strong, stronger than even she realizes. And me? I'm finally living for myself. No guilt, no strings, just peace. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.